Do you know something, guys? It may. Oh, sorry.
Oh, we are live.
Sorry.
Please share.
Oh, go on.
Go on, Don. What are you going to share?
Go on.
I was going to say I've seen a bit of chatter this week about agency fees, and I don't know if it's New Year's special offers, but some silly, ridiculously low fees being charged, and I can't see the sense in it because you're going to end up with a really poor result. But anyway, that was just something that occurred to me. Maybe not for today, but it could be something we focus on.
And we can definitely talk in depth about that. All I'd say is you genuinely pay for what you get, don't you? So, the easiest way to put it.
I went out to one last night where the estate agent knew that they were up against us, and before even delivering a price or before I'd even been out, completely slashed his fee. And it just shows you what they're doing and how poor their level of service or how bad they will be at negotiating. But that is definitely a hot topic for another day, Mr. Dom.
I've seen lots of LinkedIn chats going on recently about fees, and I think it's that New Year push, isn't it, from the corporate world to try and just get anything on at any cost.
Yeah,
they always say January is that. Apparently, the first quarter will make your year, which
no, we'll just stay in our lane, do what we're good at, which is helping people move and giving them the right advice, and we keep doing that. Can't go wrong if we're honest.
Absolutely.
Ian made a great video on LinkedIn. I don't know if you saw it, about fees, and the average agency will say, right, we need to make more money, so we need more houses, and so to do that we'll slash our fee to get more houses, whereas actually if you just increase the service and then the fee, you can get more money without having to sell more houses.
And you know what, actually on this, I know we're going off on a bit of a tangent here, but I actually read something really interesting earlier on that they did some surveys on it last year, that across the UK, estate agents only sell 50% of their stock, even though they're on a commission basis. So that's 50. You got a 50-50 chance, in a nutshell, of picking a good estate agent or a bad one in your house not selling the first time round. That's really, I think, bloody terrible. So yeah, try and get it right first time, isn't it? That you don't want to be part of the 50% that's not selling.
No, absolutely. Get it right. One chance at making a first impression on the market, and if you choose the wrong agent and you choose the wrong price, boom, you're done.
100%. What are you giggling about, Dom?
Sorry, I was asking my glamorous assistant to bring me my laptop charger, and she's winding me up by pretending to put it in my hand and then lassoing it around.
Anyway, we kind of skipped a bit of an introduction. So hello world, thank you everyone for logging on. Back here again on a Tuesday evening with myself, Matt, Dan and Neil from Dan and Neil Estate Agents, and the money man, Mr. Dom, as well. Just checking in here on a Tuesday to answer all of your property or mortgage related questions. So if you're watching on any platform, fire your questions in the comments. If you're watching this on a repeat, still fire your questions, because we can answer them next week. So boys, how's it going? How's your week been?
Good. Been a good week.
We're getting back into the swing of it. January's almost over now. First month of the year done. And I think, like we said last week, it's been busier. It's certainly been busier than I thought it would be at the start of the year. I don't know if, Dom, if you want to give us a little mortgage update, what's been going on in the mortgage world for the last 7 days since we spoke?
Much of the same, guys, really. Rates are still under pressure, if you like. So the MPC sits next Thursday, so the money is that they'll be increasing again a bit. I'm not sure by how much. I think that's probably reaching its limit, to be fair. But yeah, rates across Resi and buy-to-let continue to be under pressure. So it's good news.
I was going to ask you, Dom, because I've had a few valuations recently where clients have said to me that the base rate may go up again. I think that's what you just mentioned, wasn't it? Mm. Do you think that if it does go up again by 0.5, what will that bring it to? 4%? We're at 3.5 at the minute.
It's 4, yeah. Yeah.
Do you think fixed rates will then start to increase significantly? So obviously the tracker rate then will be higher, won't it? So I know people have opted on trackers recently and need to start fixing in maybe. I don't know if any of this makes a...
Yeah, I mean, don't forget that the base rate's interesting, but it's not how lenders set their fixed rates. The fixed rates are judged by the swap rate, the fixed swap rate market. So it's still likely that we'll see fixed deals coming in below base, not by a lot, but it's still highly likely. I wouldn't worry too much, to be honest.
Yeah, good.
So I've been reading that the base rate is expected to peak at some point this year at 4.5%. I think that's the expectation.
I think it depends what you read, Matt. I saw one that said 4.25, and then I saw another projection for like the futures market suggesting that by the end of this year it'll be dropping. It'll be back under 4.
Yeah.
Take from that what you will. You know what I mean? It's hard. Forecasting in financial terms is always difficult. So they may get it spectacularly wrong, but if the economy gets in trouble, it's the only lever the bank can pull is to bring rates back. So yeah, I think the outlook is positive, to be quite frank. And some of the bank only has to make margin. You know what I mean? So if they need to shift loans out the door, they'll just affect their margin.
Yeah,
I think we should feel good about it, chaps, to be honest.
Well, it's as I said, I've been pleasantly surprised by the amount of activity in January, and it's only looking back now at the mini budget. I can't wait to stop talking about the mini budget. To be honest, it's been like 3 months of it now, 4 months of it. But if looking back is realizing how much of an upset that was, and I think that was the worst of it.
Yeah,
I imagine. But like you say, forecasting is impossible.
Absolutely. Can't predict it. You just move within it, and we always say the same. There's no good or bad time to be moving. You move when you need to move. So crack on.
It always makes me laugh when people are like, "Oh, is now a good time to sell?" It's like, well, for everyone who sells, there's someone who's buying. So it's
I get asked that question quite a bit. I have this similar answer each time. It's just if it's a good time for you, if you are ready, if it's your time, you just crack on. It is what it is. You could forever wait for the market to be different, couldn't you? So you just got to do it. If you need a bit more space, you need an extra bedroom, downsizing, whatever the reason is, you're going to do it, aren't you?
I've had quite a sustained increase in inquiries. And this is for people who are looking to buy. It's not. I mean, remortgages they're always there in the background, but I've been surprised by how many people are seeking to buy, and that's both homes to live in and homes to rent. I don't think that's going to change, to be honest. I think the market will present more opportunities this year as houses come on. Matt, I think you're going to go on and talk about some of the Zoopla stats, or at least we can kick that around in terms of volume and value and stuff like that. But there's definitely going to be opportunities, 100%. There's no way that people won't be buying houses for one reason or another.
I'd comfortably say that, I'm sure Dan will say the same and Matt will say the same, we could do with some more stock. We could do with more properties, as always.
Yeah.
And there's buyers out there to be had, and all of our properties that we're dealing with are still having multiple offers, multiple people losing out. So yeah, there's definitely buyers out there to be had. So
well, interestingly, Neil, I actually looked for our January. We've had over 30 offers from different individuals. There's 30 good buyers that have made offers with just ourselves. That could have achieved homes, but unfortunately somebody else pipped them to it. So there's people out there that want to buy. You are right. It's the same people going back to look at other similar properties. I did a comparable for somebody in Spencer's Wood, did about 2 miles for 2-bedroom houses for sale. I think there was 2. So I'm going to see one next week in Arborfield. We were talking about it, Neil. And actually, she said to me, "Oh, is it a good time to sell? And what's the market like?" And looking at it, well, there's hardly any choice on there for people to go and buy. So actually, it's probably not a bad time to be on the market with less competition.
Yeah,
I had the same in Whitley today. Went out to a property and there was just nothing available in a half a mile radius. There was just no other competition. So and lots of the stuff I'm seeing lots of price reductions, stuff that's just gone on for far too much money in the first place. Anything that's well priced is just not sticking around.
Yeah.
And I know we were going to come up to the Zoopla, but I know we were going to also chat about the importance of correct pricing and adjusting sooner rather than later if you need to, because let's face it, it happens through the market. If the market changes while you're on, if the market itself changes while you're on the market, you just got to look at it and act accordingly. But our motive, as always, is to get the best price or the right price for the property, but also get the best buyer and get options for our seller, get multiple offers. And I know we were talking before jumping on the live about the one that I've been dealing with in South Reading, where 2 other agents unfortunately had gone out before me. And interestingly enough, they had actually said and suggested a much higher marketing price than what we went on at. So again, she trusted in what we were doing. And it was just before Christmas. Things obviously took a little bit of a turn towards the back end of the year, and it was a little bit quiet, if I'm being honest, coming into January. This seller in particular didn't want the property hanging around too long, but to put it into context for people out there, I suggested 350. 2 other agents suggested 375, which she knew they were just pulling her leg. It was ridiculous. 375. I said no. Realistically, it's around this sort of figure. She trusted my advice. Came on at 350. Was a little bit slow with the market. It's an investment property, so she just wanted the cash out and wanted to move on. And she said, Neil, I'd take 330, 335 for it. So she said, can we bring it down to 335? And I said, my suggestion would be to bring it to 330, bait the hook, draw a traction in, and sell it for a little bit more. So you're still pushing that price. We ended up with 5 offers within a few days, and that's just sold closer, very close to the 350, the original price. So it's gone like that and then back up. So
such a perfect example of how to pitch it correctly.
Absolutely.
It can feel, sometimes I understand people feel like pricing it higher, you're building in some safety, but it's just not the case.
No,
and I think don't get suckered into that, because it kills your chances of selling. It kills your chances. I promise you.
Absolutely. I think it's just trusting your estate agent that they're giving you the right advice, and the proof's in the pudding. And I went out to someone last night, and interestingly, the other estate agent had said a bit more than me, but she knew that they would do that. She knew that their tactic was to price high to win the business or whatever else. And that will be coming on the market with me at the right price, and it will probably sell for a little bit more. It's just interesting that that's still the tact. But like we said, you've got one chance at making the right impression. But that story there just is a prime example of trusting the estate agent's advice. Yes, it can look quite scary if you go, right, I'm slashing my price from 350 to 330. We've got you the price that we told you we'd get you before. And we've created that drama, and it's ended up with a cash buyer at a great offer that wants to move quickly. So she's got the pick of the bunch of buyers, and it's worked out perfectly for her. So yeah, lovely story. Love a story like that.
Yeah. And I was surprised when you said about the offer you got earlier, but that's a testament to, obviously the process that you're following.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, it just creates that desirability because it's a marketing price. The cliche saying a property is only worth what someone's willing to pay, but if you don't have those people through the door to work with, you don't know. So
yeah,
100%. Great story. Very happy to have that.
Story time with Neil.
Yes.
I'm going to pull back up this Zoopla report. I just thought these top line stats were worth a look. Again, despite all of the headlines we've had for the last 4 months, we're still looking at 6.5% growth year on year. I think we can all agree that's a healthy property market in any given year to have 6.5% growth. And demand is still 10% above 2019 levels, which they're referring to as a normal market.
I think that's a really good stat to look at, because the last 2 years or so during COVID obviously has been a bit squished and a bit everything bottlenecked, doesn't it, a little bit in terms of what's been coming through. But if you look at a normal year, 2019, and still so far we're now 10% over that, that's a really good stat to look at, and shows you it's not as bad as everyone first thinks. It's just that we've been through a crazy period where it's just been very intense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we said about it before about properties are still selling for a similar price. They're not as crazy and bang on intense. It's just not as hectic, which is good.
Isn't it also normal that you would see a larger percentage of buyers in the 1-2 bed flat market at this time of year?
So as you say, that 27% of buyers are looking for 1 and 2 bed flats in January 23.
Yeah.
Do you know what? The only thing I could put to that, I don't know if there's any truth to it, is can you say maybe first time buyers at the start of the year get themselves ready to then start looking at
Yeah.
Sort of the 1 and 2 bed properties to get themselves going. It might just be a trend.
Yeah.
Maybe saved up for a couple of years and ready to go.
I don't know whether it's been skewed by you can't walk anywhere in Reading without seeing flats go up. Have you noticed that? I drove through Reading town yesterday.
I was going to say, I wonder if it's because there's
unbelievable
apartments available for sale, where there's brand new ones up for sale, or investors, offloading some of those apartments now.
It's amazing. I couldn't believe I mean, I don't go into Reading very often, certainly not in the daytime, and it's just they're everywhere.
My goal to have a new build site of flats in Reading town centre. That's
you are called the Reading agent, so
I was going to say, you'd be minted if you got one of those blocks. Some of them are amazing, aren't they? Because there's I know some of them are like service living, aren't they, with gyms and like concierge service, everything for high-end professionals living in town, sort of thing, traveling to London and that.
Yeah, it's really cool what some of them are doing now. The amenities, the kind of stuff you'd expect to see in London with sort of concierge and doorman. I don't know if they have doorman. They definitely have kind of reception areas and stuff.
They do. Really... Well, I think one of them, they have like cold and warm boxes, so you can get food made during the day for you put in those boxes. When you get home from work, you just grab your food out and go upstairs. There's a lot of money to live there, but
I'm moving.
Elizabeth line, like London on Reading's like London on Thames, isn't it? You know what I mean?
It's getting there. I went over to Green Park the other day actually, just to it's not quite open yet, is it, Green Park Station? But it looks like it's almost finished when I drove past it.
And I think if you take all of these things together, the Reading area property market is likely to continue to be in relative rude health compared to other areas that are not. Don't quite have so much going for them. And I'm not saying the Elizabeth line's transformational, because Reading was already a commuter town, but the amount of employers around this area, is pushing out into, Bracknell. There's just a lot going on around here. And so that pressure is going to translate into demand for investment properties and demand for resi.
I mentioned earlier on about the 50% of properties are sold by the agents. That's UK average. I actually looked into it earlier on, and RG postcodes as a whole, 79% of property sales. So that shows you that it's just naturally a stronger market than some other postcodes because of the demographic and area and so on. So it's quite interesting to see that. So
we're always fortunate, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, we're at 89% ourselves, Neil. So there you go, mate.
About Reading, you guys probably find this with a lot of the houses you sell, the larger sort of freehold properties. My experience of those kind of properties, a lot of the buyers are people with stable tech jobs in Reading, in the surrounding businesses. I just think they're strong employers in our area, and those jobs aren't going anywhere. So again, it's just all about Reading.
I'd say our demographic tends to be the people that work from home quite a lot, need the M4 access, working in and out of London, or tech jobs around Reading town itself. It's always been like that. I've worked this area for nearly 14 years, and it's always been like that, which is great because Fridays tend to be great for valuations because Mister's working from home or whatever else. It's always the way. It's always the way. Works out well.
Yeah, cool, chaps. So I know we were going to keep these to about 15, 20 minutes, and we've managed to go on for 18 minutes here. So I've been a bit rubbish on keeping an eye on the comments, but I'm not sure if you have any questions. But again, if anyone's watching this on a repeat, please fire us your questions, and we'll be back next Tuesday.
I'm going to turn the heating on as well.
I'm not allowed to turn the heating on. I've had this on all day. Cost of living crisis. So,
there you go. There's our next topic.
Also, gas prices are now lower than they were before the start of the Ukraine war, guys. That's going to ripple through soon.
There you go.
All right. Do you think Dom's in the know of this stuff? So
it's gone off a cliff. Fantastic.
That's good news. Well, I have started to see fuel prices been dropping. I didn't really realise the other day, but they're a lot less than where they were. I just didn't really notice, but they're.
That's because you've been queuing up at Costco now.
Well, I do get in that. If people watching know around the Reading area, obviously you've got Costco up by Medeski Stadium. They put the new petrol station, didn't they, last year? They haven't thought about how people are queuing up. Like every day, there is probably 100 cars queuing up onto the IDR. Yeah,
One of these.
Mate, honestly, best thing ever. I think it was £1.50 for diesel.
That's ridiculous.
It's so much better. I fill my tank there, and you get you
don't fill your tank. You've never put more than a tenner in your car.
I have to now. Inflation is £13.80. I put in every time now.
Really annoys me. A £5 a time.
Before we go, guys, so I'm not around next week. I've got to be in London, so you won't have the pleasure of my company, I'm afraid. But I'll be back the follling week.
Sure,
we won't have Neil either.
No, we won't. Me and Dom are going on holiday, aren't we, Dom?
Yeah.
It'll be me and Matt.
It'll be you and Matt, yeah.
And apparently we now have 2 spaces for special guests. So if you want to feature next week,
there you go.
Do you know what? I'd put a question out before we go. If anyone sees this, if there's anyone out there that wants to be a special guest, even if you want to come on here and just ask us questions for the general public, that'd be pretty cool. We can have anyone on here asking us questions about the property market. We'll answer them. So you could hop on and say hello live. Ghost stories.
Yeah.
That's not working. It's too bright, otherwise you can't see me. My lights are just too good.
Right.
Well, I guess it's just me and you next week then, Dan, plus special guests if we're able, whoever able.
I think you've got a good option that we discussed offline. So if that does happen, watch this space. Tune in next week. That'll be epic.
Cool.
Right, gents.
Always a pleasure.
Cheers, guys. See you later.